And welcome back to part 11, folks. Alright, as I said last time, this is the episode where we put an end to Harley Quinn's plans once and for all.
Look who's finally turned up, the Dark Knight himself. How's it hanging, Babs?
Okay, so now we're in the guard room. This is kind of a intricate puzzle because it can be a little bit confusing, at least for me, it always has been. I'm not really sure in which order you're supposed to do this in, because, realistically, all you have to do is hack a few panels and then rescue the guards. But I always get confused with the fact that I don't know or I can't tell which parts of the water, which water puddles are actually electrocuted at what time, you know? Sometimes it's very hard to tell, so I would just do it one by one and hopefully you don't mess up, because if you do both of the hacks at the same time, the electricity current comes back to the water puddles beneath the officers, and if you try to rescue them out of order, you'll actually just end up killing one of them, and then you have to restart the whole challenge all over again. The last hackable panel actually has quite a strict time limit on it, and it's supposedly 5 powered, so it should be pretty tough, but luckily enough I never had any trouble with it, not any more than the rest of them in the room.
Now. You going after that crazy witch? I saw her heading out of the door as we got out of the room.
She won't get away. I'll stop her and then her boyfriend.
Good. Listen, I'll go try and get the ventilation system working. If you find her, don't go easy on her. From me.
Alright, and now the room that we just left is filled with chocolate toxin, and yeah, we can't do anything back there. Again, there's a few collectibles that we'll just have to backtrack for, sadly, but there are still a few that we can get right now. This one actually in particular is pretty interesting because it's technically in the main cell block and not the guard room, and that's why halfway through, just right there as we passed it, you'll see some slowdown because the game is loading both the entrance pathway to the old area we were just in. So it's kind of a hard one to miss and a hard one to describe. I've seen a lot of guides online, and video makers actually struggle, especially through text, to describe where this one actually is. But I'd say once you're in the guard room, the offices that the police went, look on the wall.
Patient's name is Victor Saz. For the record, the patient has transferred from Dr. Cassidy, who is on leave after the incident last week. Hello, Victor. Please take a seat. Guards, you can leave us.
Sorry, Doctor. Warden's orders. I can't leave you alone with him.
I understand. Hello, Victor. How are you feeling today? Victor, I can't help you if you don't speak.
Depressed. Does that help you? Can you get into my mind, Doctor?
Why depressed?
I'm just thinking about the one that got away. The one I chose. I needed the mark. I want the mark!
Looks like Victor Zaz is being interviewed by a different doctor now. The doctor from the very beginning of the game in part 1, who was overlooking Victor Zaz and the guard that he's taken hostage, once we learned about the gargoyles. And he's talking about the one that got away. Perhaps it's the previous doctor, Dr. Cassidy. It's all so very sweet and romantic, especially because it's the day after Valentine's Day. Hope you guys had a great time with your significant other, and yeah, hope it was a good time. Me personally, I just went to the gym with a good friend of mine, and now I have to continue studying for some more finals. It was very lovely and romantic. Anyhow though, leaving the area, we're pretty much done with this whole shebang, and now we just have to get led on the leash by Harley Quinn and follow the Joker thief as per usual. She'll open up the electrical gates for you, no more puzzles to solve, and we can enter the next area. Again, you should probably always lead up when coming into new areas with detective mode. Actually, 2 times throughout this episode, while I was recording this, I got scared shitless by two different maniacs, I guess. And yeah, it wasn't a fun experience. Even though I played through this game plenty of times and even did a test playthrough for this Let's Play, I still got terrified. One of those parts is right here. That made me physically jump while I was recording, and I just... You know that moment after you get just petrified, where you're embarrassed for yourself? Yeah, that was it.
Victor has been more subdued recently. Response to medication has been poor. Hello, Victor. Is there anything you'd like to talk about today? Victor! This is going nowhere. Guards! Get him out of here!
You heard the doctor. Get out. Didn't you hear me? He's got a knife! Oh! Get a trike in him! Get a trike in him! Oh, God! He's on Bill! He's cutting him! Get him off! Get him off! We need help here!
Alright, we're into the December tapes now. We're getting pretty late into these tapes. If you guys remember, we haven't had one in a while because we haven't been on Arkham Island for a while, but the Joker's tapes are also slowly leading into the late parts of the year. And I guess they all end up intersecting around the Christmas time in Gotham City, where Joker has made his plans more and more to fruition, I suppose. Anyhow though, there are 3 weak walls on that upper area of the room, and only the leftmost wall yields any rewards. The others are just empty cells, but the leftmost one has a Riddler trophy.
Here he comes, Mr. J!
Excellent. I'll leave it to you then, my dear.
Get him!
Alright, and this is considered kind of, I suppose, the boss fight for Harley Quinn. She pretty much has a combat challenge laid in front of you. And later on, once you've beaten the game and you start playing through all the challenge modes that the game offers, which I never really got into or talked about in great detail, but those are a combination of fighting sequences and predator challenges throughout the game, with a lot more enemies and a lot more specific missions you have to complete, or a set of points you have to get a certain score. Anyhow, I'm saying that because this is one of the challenges, and later on, again, in the challenge mode, this is probably the toughest challenge, because this room is filled with bad guys that you have to defeat with all sorts of different weapons. But the gimmick to this boss fight is a gauntlet-based match, I suppose. The enemies keep coming in waves, and progressively the enemies get more and more difficult to fight because they'll have different weapons as the waves progress. And the panels on the floor get progressively electrocuted from left to right, beginning with the left side. So if you don't follow the exact path, I guess, that the game intended you to, I mean, all you have to do is jump to the area which isn't about to get electrocuted. But if you jump to the, I suppose, not intended one, you'll have a waiting period in which you'll have to do pretty much nothing, because the enemies are automatically programmed to jump to the next one, if that makes any sense whatsoever. You probably noticed it in the video by now. Alright, and right as I say that, the exact thing happens, right? We jump over to the next one. However, the enemies, because they're the closest to the one, to the doors or cells that they came out of, they just stay on the same side. You have to wait. But if you've done the combat challenges for fun, maybe, this will be a breeze. Like any combat challenge in the game, it should be a breeze. Again, I still sometimes messed up, but I'm getting better, slowly but surely.
Done it again! I don't believe it! I'm on my way now.
Oops, change of plans, kiddo.
But I tried my best!
Sorry, but there is prize for second place, I'm afraid you're on the party list. Better luck next time.
No! Die, you big ugly bat! Hey, hands off the merchandise! That's my party list!
Quiet. Why the smiles next to certain names?
You're the detective, you tell me! Huh?
Get it.
You won't find Mr. J. He's in the secret lab in the gardens and... oh, crap!
Yep, I know.
Damn! Well, he'll get me out, you'll see! Yeah. You'll see.
Well, it looks like my promises came through for once when it comes to the predictions of this game. With that boss fight cleared though, we have another level up. And this time around, I was really thinking on what I should get. So, the Cryptographic Sequencer power upgrade really doesn't give you any more benefits than slight, I guess, time-saving options.
Oracle, I'm done.
It sounds bad when I say it that way, but none of the sequencer hacks are necessarily too difficult,
Harley's
right?
been everywhere on the
And
island,
that's why I
so
didn't
I'm
go with
calibrating the
that.
scanner to only
I
show
ended
prints
up
that have
going with
traces
the
of
Sonic
chlorophyll.
Batarang, and I'll make sure to show that off in the next Predator section, because otherwise, because the regular Batarangs knock enemies out just as well, you know, we don't really have a use for the Sonic Batarang outside of the Predator sections. But it's pretty cool nonetheless. You'll see it sooner rather than later. Scanning that puzzle gives us the bio for Mr. Freeze, and apparently that was where he was kept. I'm really having trouble speaking in these last few parts, guys. I think I'm gonna get a heart attack pretty soon. I'm fading away. Jesus Christ. And nonetheless, don't miss out on this interview tape.
Victor has been in isolation since the attack on Zagar last week. As I wait for him to be brought up to me, I have had time to review his notes. I am increasingly worried he cannot be cured. He has no empathy for his victims. Deep down, I believe he views all of us as potential victims.
Doc, are you okay?
What's happening?
It's Zaz. He broke out of isolation. He's gone.
Oh, God!
Don't worry, Doc. You're in the safest place. He's definitely left the island.
Of course. But someone needs to alert the authorities. He'll need to kill again. Do you understand me? Needs to. Oh, no. He's gone after Dr. Cassidy.
Hello?
Sarah, it's Gretchen. Listen to me.
Hold on. There's someone at the door.
Sarah, do not answer the door. Can you hear me? Do not answer the door. It's Zaz. He's free.
And that was probably one of my favorite interview tapes in the entire game. Even though Victor Zaz didn't get that much coverage, that was one of the coolest ways to end his saga in the side collectible interview tapes, in my opinion, right? And as I said, it's the day after Valentine's Day as I record and probably originally upload this, right? Unless you're watching all the way into the future, in which I hope we have self-driving cars by now, if you're here in 2020 or something. Probably not realistic, but, you know, one can hope. Anyhow though, yeah, so in a very romantic fashion, Victor Zaz has broken out of Arkham in late December, of, I guess, this game's chronology.
I argued with the latest group of young, eager doctors. They bored me with theories and ideas, proving that they had no theories on how to cure these animals. Only one shared my vision. I offered her the chance to explore her dreams. She accepted. We'll make a good team.
Well, we haven't heard from the Spirit of Arkham in quite some time, so it's good to, I guess, reconnect back with the old guy. And with that, we're halfway through the Chronicles of Arkham, which went by faster than expected. I also think it's pretty cool if you notice that even though Victor Zsasz escaped in late December, and technically, chronologically, if he was any smarter, he wouldn't get incarcerated right away again, right? Or arrested. I guess they're both in the same, since he did end up in the asylum anyway. But I think that the cool fact, the nuance of that story is that he doesn't really care whether he gets arrested or not. I mean, sure, he's obsessed with killing, he's kind of like an uncalculated Dexter in that way, but he didn't really care whether he got arrested or not. He just wanted to kill Dr. Cassidy, so it's pretty creepy and pretty cool.
But between you and me, I'm aiming for the A grade. Just got to mix a couple more of these chemicals, and I'll be creating my own personal army. Ha!
So I suppose that the main plot of Arkham Asylum becomes more and more clear every episode, right? Ever since the experiments with Dr. Young and the talks of Dr. Young working alongside with the Joker in the past, that we found out a little bit through his old tapes. The Joker has taken over the asylum to get her research notes and hopefully create an army of Bane-like soldiers, which is absolutely terrifying. So I guess that the game does have more, I guess, on the line or at stake than just the safety of the staff of Arkham Island or something like that. Genuinely, the whole of Gotham City is in danger. And we're back, more with Jack Ryder. Again, Jack Ryder, pretty interesting character. If you actually come to the bathroom stalls once again, where you solve that puzzle, you'll have one more lunatic that you can completely skip over. And it's nothing to really go back for. It's just kind of, I guess, a little secret Easter egg that some people don't know about, but it doesn't give you anything other than the 80 experience or however many you have once you take down one of the lunatics. And for the record, that was the second time I absolutely crapped my pants recording this episode, and I wasn't gonna let it happen a third time. I'm not that stupid and gullible, okay? If you're not playing with detective mode, that last the last lunatic right before you leave the penitentiary is the most terrifying, actually. But now that the Joker has released all the cells, these lunatics roam all around Arkham Island. And yeah, there's about, I guess, approximately 6 to 8 of them in every big section, so north, east, and west. And yeah, it's a bit repetitive. They've replaced the snipers as of now, or at least for the time being. And yeah, I want to deal with them off screen, if that's okay with you, because there's not a lot of differences when fighting them. They run at you, you click counter, and then you do a ground takedown. And that's about it. And once you've defeated all of them successfully, let's spend the rest of the video on the collectathon. Because I love them very much, and I think you know that at this point. So first things first, we have a lot of things to hack, because that's the newest equipment upgrade. And with that, we'll actually be able to get all the secret maps for all the large areas of the game, which is awesome. For this specific trophy and riddle that is inside this office space, you will need the range amplifier, and that's why I noted that you should probably pick it up as soon as you get the sequencer as well, because it could be really inconvenient to forget to upgrade it, because you don't want to do any more backtracking in this game that you already have to. I mean, pretty much before the final part, I'll do a quick little montage of everything that you've missed, not by not by being, I guess, you know, not by your accord is what I'm trying to say. There's definitely a better word for it, but it's pretty early in the morning, and because I like scheduling and routine, I like to get these out of the way as soon as I can. That sounds like it's a punishment, right? I got treated, and my punishment is to make Let's Play videos. So yes, here I am. I'm actually one of the inmates here, and yeah, I'm forced to do these. I hate video games actually. Yeah, I just hate my life right now. Okay, so with those few secrets out of the way, we can progress to the next area. And in the passageway in between, there's a vent on the wall. And yeah, we just pick it up, and that's about it. Nothing more to it. So, as of late, I've been really getting great support when it comes to this Let's Play, and I'm very excited about that. It's amazing, it's encouraging. Like, you don't understand unless you do this yourself, and you probably do. At this point, it's been so many years of everybody Let's Playing that, you know, you can definitely relate. But some of the feedback and the compliments and all the kind words that I get can really make my day. So thank you so much, guys. There are some creative ways to take out these lunatics, as you saw, and the Bat Claw is probably my favorite one, because it, for some reason, it just immediately knocks them out, and then just drags their corpse to you for another ground takedown. That's a clip I definitely decided to include, because I think it's really cool, and I haven't seen it done that much, I have to say. Alright, a very similar riddle regarding Two-Face in this hut of Arkham Island, and yeah, it's pretty much the same as the one in the penitentiary.
The private notes of Dr. Young. Titan is a success. Even my funding worries have been solved after the unexpected donations from Mr. White. Joker has also shown a remarkable interest in the possibility of a cure. Once the protein bonding process is finalized, I will...
Dr. Young, you ready?
Oh, yes, come in.
You'll hurt my feelings, Doc. Keeping me waiting like that.
Sit down. You can leave us.
You sure?
We're fine. Aren't we, Joker?
Oh, yes.
Well, if you insist. I'm just outside, okay?
So is he here? Did your patient X arrive?
Yes, I must say progressing more rapidly than I expected. But enough of that. Let's talk about you.
No. Let's talk more about your Titan project.
My what? How do you...
How do I know you have Bane strapped to a table in the basement while you pump him dry?
Would you believe a lucky guess?
So I guess I did a little bit of foreshadowing earlier in the video, but yeah, we're continuing on the saga of the Joker, and again, a lot of these will pretty much take up most of the collectathon's times, I suppose, listening to all the tapes. But if you're like me, and you really like the backstory, especially when it's handed out to you on a silver platter, just like this game is, usually, you know, most games will say, well, this is what happened, because it happened, and that's the way we're presenting it, and if you don't like it, you don't have to play, right? That's usually the philosophy when it comes to game creation. But the ability to give you so much backstory that's so rich and cool just by collecting some collectibles that aren't really annoying at all, right? For example, the first time when I played, I loved finding new interview tapes, and when I couldn't find one, or I missed out on one, and the story of a certain villain was incomplete, I'd just get mad, I get frustrated, and I'd have to go back and look for them, because they're so cool and intriguing, and I had to know what happened next. Even though maybe at the time I didn't realize it was the backstory to the game, I still very much liked it. Also, this is probably the coolest lunatic they decided to include. One of them is smashing up the very top of the head of Quincy Sharp's statue, and you just use a regular batarang and you can knock him out immediately. And it's pretty cool. It's definitely really original. I mean, I guess that after a while they decided, okay, we just can't have so many of these just roaming the island with nothing to gain. Let's put a funny, I guess, animated one instead of the regular crazy runners. But with that hack, we have another secret map, which again covers the entirety of Arkham Island now, other than the specific buildings we haven't been to yet, like the Botanical Gardens, which is our next destination. But we've done a lot this episode, I have to say. We have finally arrested Harley Quinn. She is out of our hair for the rest of the night. And I guess next we're just going straight after the Joker. She said that he's in the Botanical Gardens as we speak. And while we are doing some hacking here, because again, there's no time limit, you can take your time, there's probably a plan and a conflict brewing in the Botanical Gardens between the Joker, his Bane-like villains, and potentially Poison Ivy too. So I'm very excited to play this in the future and bring you the next episode in a couple of days. But with that said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.
I've been a fool. Joker was behind it all. He's Jack White. He gave me the money, pulled the strings to release Bane. How could I not have seen it? He's been blackmailing me. He has a crazy plan to create an army of monsters. I want out, but... Hello? Hello? Dr. Young's office.
Please hold for Mr. White.
What?
Hello, Doc. We need to talk.
I'm not doing it, Joker. Do you hear me? Wait. How did you get access to a phone?
Oh, yes. Sorry, Doc. Had to split. I hate small, confined spaces. Reminds me of my childhood.
Another lie?
Who knows? I certainly don't, but let's not get distracted with details. So, anyway, I want my monsters.
I sent you back the money. I don't want it.
Do I look like I care about money? I just want my monsters, Doc. And if you don't give them to me, well then, it won't be funny.
Do you see that form? Bruce Wayne never skips leg day.